Yeah, Jeremy, we are back with another episode of Card Show Live. And as last week goes, and next week goes, and this week, there is no shortage of card shows around the country. It seems like this week, though, in particular, is like the week of the mall show. And really, those are coming back because malls are so large and you can fit a ton of tables in there. But I don't even know how many there are, but I did write down a bunch, and I'm just going to rattle them off. And you can go to replay this later. We'll put a post up later, but there's everywhere from Battlefield Mall in Springfield, Missouri, which is not far from where my sister lives. So maybe one day I'll get there. Newtown Mall in New Philly, Ohio, Laurel Mall in Hazleton, PA, Moortown Mall in where? Moortown, New Jersey, right? Grand Central Mall in Vienna, West Virginia, Capital City Mall in Camp Hill, Pennsylvania, and Cedar Falls College Square Mall in Iowa. And that's just the few that I found on a quick search. And not to mention our own show that we're producing at Great Northern Mall in North Olmsted. And we're doing that with our friend Justin at J&J Sports Cards. Um, Last count this morning, I think there's like 130 tables there. So it's going to be a terrific show, and it's going to be a ton of sports, a ton of Pokemon, which has been kind of the norm lately. And we're going to talk to Jeff about that as well. But a great mix of both, and TCG sports, um, autograph frames. I think Andrew will probably be there, and tons of other things. So our show will be Great Northern Mall. It's on greeniesportscards.com Friday, Saturday, mall hours 11 to 8. And I'm sure with any mall, it's going to be those typical mall hours. Long days, but a lot of traffic. And really, those are starting to come back, the malls. So you could get to Beckett.com or Hobby Box app. I mean, there's plenty of places now to go find where some of these shows are.
Greeny, one of the unique things about these mall shows too, because there's some consternation in the chat rooms, if you will, on paying for card shows, paying to get in versus the mall shows, which typically are free because they're in a mall and you can't really control the space. And we could do a whole other show on
Sure.
the expense and the time and effort that goes into producing these shows. But if you don't want to pay them nominal cover charge to get into these big awesome shows, a mall show is right up your alley.
That's right. And moving on to some of the other shows to highlight, there's one on the West Coast, the Regional SoCal Cards and Collectibles Show. I wanted to kind of mention that because we don't really talk about the West Coast a lot. I know we've talked about Phoenix and such, but California, as large of a state it is, Jeremy, has no shortage of card shows. And this one is at a Marriott in Garden Grove, California, with about 140 tables. Um, you can find everything on their Instagram and Facebook page, the Regional SoCal Card Show. Right there, 10 to 4. That's October the 18th. And that's a free entry show. So I know some are leaning towards that, but we wanted to mention that. The Marriott in Garden Grove, California. And then our small show of the week, while may seem small at 40 tables, this is a pretty mighty show at the Texas Sports Hall of Fame. And actually, I sent them a message because I wanted to learn a little bit about it. And Britt Britton, who runs this show, actually sent me some, and I just want to read it because it's pretty interesting. So, the Texas Sports Collectibles Show has been running for 15 years, originally promoted by legendary dealer Larry Dooley of Sports Collectibles of Houston. It's quickly growing to one of the premier events in Texas. Um, they started by bringing in guests. Britt did as autographers, and have since taken over the show, where it's held inside the Texas Sports Hall of Fame, one of the best venues that you can find. It also is the home of the Nolan Ryan Hall of Fame, the Texas High School Hall of Fame, and the SWC Hall of Fame for the College Athletic Conference. They have some autographers that are scheduled to be this year, student athletes that go to Baylor, but also highlighted by Billy Joe Dupree, former Dallas Cowboy legend. Their local ESPN is going to be broadcasting live with the voice of Baylor, John Morris. So they're also going to have several card shops represented. Bankston is one of the ones that they wanted to highlight, but pretty cool for 40 tables. That's a pretty mighty show there at the Texas Sports Hall of Fame. So I wanted to give
Yeah.
them a quick shout out. 2-day show, the 10th and 11th.
Get all the ancillary stuff with that. So plenty of shows across the country, but none may be bigger than the Nashville Card Show, of course, affectionately referred to as the National, and that is produced, of course, by Jeff Roberts. Since its founding in 2011, Jeff has grown this event into one of the premier regional showcases for sports cards and collectibles in the United States. It's held at the Fairgrounds, Nashville. Show draws collectors, dealers, and fans from across the country for a family-friendly celebration of hobby culture. Hundreds and hundreds of tables and autograph guests and other hobby-related services that we will get into specifically with the man himself. And we will welcome in to the show the legendary Jeff Roberts.
Well, appreciate the nice compliment.
Yeah. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for joining us. We joked earlier that we now have come to doing this technology part of promoting shows, and this being one of them. But we appreciate your time, and we want to talk a little bit about the National in Nashville.
Okay.
Yeah. So we joked earlier that it's just going to be a small gathering of friends trading cards, but how small has this large show become, Jeff?
Well, our show next week, we've got over 350 deals and right at 1,000 tables. We have a trade night on Friday and Saturday night, which is getting bigger every show. We probably have, I don't know, several hundred people come to it. And like I said, every show has gotten bigger. But ours is a family-friendly show, and parents feel comfortable bringing their kids with them. But we have, sports, the new stuff, vintage. Pokemon has started growing at our show. We probably 25 to 30% of our dealers now are Pokemon guys.
So
I just
take
can't.
us back a little bit. You've been doing shows in the Nashville area for 15 years, right? You do
Correct.
the Lighthouse School, and you've had some other places. So take us back to how you really got into this and how you started to getting into producing shows.
Well, I've been collecting cards since I was probably 10 back in the late 60s, and started taking my youngest son to a card show down in Murfreesboro, Tennessee back in probably 2001. And me and a buddy of mine decided we'd try a show to see how it goes, and start out with 15 tables, and it's grown to almost 1,000 tables now.
Jeff, 1,000 tables is remarkable, especially from where you've come in 2011. What has been your biggest logistical challenge along the way, and how did you overcome that?
Well, the biggest thing is finding a place that you could have that many tables. And then if it keeps growing like it is now, we're going to outgrow the fairgrounds. I mean, most I could fit in the whole building is about 1,500 tables. So, if the boom keeps going like it is, we may outgrow the fairgrounds, which that's a goal of mine.
Okay. Hey, listen, when you get that big, right? Maybe the Coliseum or somewhere in Nashville, but yeah, you've started it at this fairgrounds over the last several years, and it's built up, and it's one of the must attend shows. We attend it as much as we can, at least once a year, if not several. But you've had 400. How did it grow to 1,000 tables, and how many more people call you to where you kind of cap it off for now?
Well, I cut it off for this show about 2 months ago because I was afraid I'd have more dealers than I would have table space. And then, but now we've been at the fairgrounds. We're finishing our 4th year there. We started in March 4 years ago, and we started out with 350 tables at it. And every show has gotten bigger. And then, which tells me the dealers are making money because a lot of them that might have had 2 or 3 tables have bumped it up to 6 to 10. The dealers, I assume, are making pretty good money because they keep adding tables.
Speaking of some of the dealers, you have some of the big names that are down in your area. We know Nate from Grand Slam will be there. Matt from Underdog will be there. And I know you have many other like corporates. Like who's going to be there?
As far as corporate, it'll be Beckett, JSA, ComC, and Robert Edward auctions. They'll be there. And then Zion Cases, they always come too. And then we've had other corporate people that, as some of these companies have been bought out, they've kind of scaled back on, doing shows. I mean, some of the grading companies.
Sure.
But there again is my show. I try to keep it as a true card show. And I have very few autograph guys because I want to focus on the dealers making the money and having a good time. And this time I've got Andy Friedman. He's an artist for Tops. He's coming back. He comes at least once, twice a year. Then I've got George Foster and Darrell Evans and Denny McClain, which he comes about every show of mine, and then John Warden. And like I said, I may have 2 or 3, but I don't want 50 autograph guys. It takes away from my dealers. And to me, that's the most important thing for a show is to take care of your dealers.
Jeff, as producers, the events themselves tend to be a blur. You're in the moment. There's a lot of different stakeholders, and they tend to go very quickly, the days. Was there a moment along the way throughout the years for you that since 2011 that you realized, wow, this is different. The hobby has grown into something beyond any comprehension. Was there a signature moment or event when you look back that you realized there's really something here?
Yes, it was going before COVID hit. We were, growing pretty big. And then, of course, the mayor of Nashville shut my shows down for a year and a half. So the 4 years ago, we started the fairgrounds after COVID, and that's when it really took off. That's when I saw from the first show we did there was 350 dealers, or 350 tables, excuse me. And I could tell then that there was something good getting ready to happen. And then, but like I said, when I first started doing the shows in 2011, I guess shows weren't really cool because I was only one of the few shows. And a lot of people from Ohio would come because there was no shows there, hardly nowhere. And then, but now every little town and every city, state's got a show now. So
It is, but there's something about Nashville too. I mean, there's the show, but there's the city. It's a great town for people to come and hang out. I know that there's people coming from, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 different states. Do you know if they're like who the farthest is coming?
California, I've got a dealer from Utah. I'm trying to think. Texas. I've had some from Colorado, New York. I mean, basically from about every state over the year. I mean, it's Florida, several from Florida, New York. I got a big buyer coming from New York that came back in February. So, I mean, it's not just regional. I mean, I've got people from all across the country that come to the show.
And what's very interesting, and a guy that we've known from your shows, you're probably the best in the business getting people in and out of there, and Ricky Line.
Yep.
Having him is a tremendous asset.
I think we're the only show probably that has somebody like Ricky that gets people in and out, and it comes around and gets you change and gives you a break when you need one. I mean, he's worth his weight in gold.
Terrific. Yeah, he is terrific. We enjoy Ricky.
One of the nicest men you'd ever want to meet too.
Jeff, you mentioned, the dealers are the heartbeat of the show, taking care of them, and Ricky does that, whatever they need. Do you have some advice throughout the years? What can you share with vendors or exhibitors that might be going into their first shows or their first couple of shows? What can you share with them to have the best experience possible at an event?
Well, be well organized and have, all your items priced where you don't have to look them up. Of course, I know a lot of people comp, on eBay or whatever, and just be, and don't get disappointed if you don't do good the first 1 or 2 shows, because, the first one you may just break even, but never get discouraged, because when I first started doing my show in 2011, I was telling one of the magazines that wrote an article about my show, if I did this for a living, I would have quit after the first show, because first couple of shows I lost my rear end. But I mean, that was a long time ago. But just never get discouraged, and then, like I said, you never know. You may have a bad show Friday and Saturday and be packing up Sunday, and some guy will come by and drop $8,000 to $10,000 on you. So I mean, that's happened several times at mine. So it's just just that the dealers should never get discouraged, and then you need to have fun doing it too.
With a show that this size, whether it's 500, 600, even 1,000 tables, how much do you spend with the floor plan or putting people in location? Like how much time, like do people don't really understand that this is not hey, 10 minutes and we're gonna have a card show.
Yeah, you can ask my fiance about that because it's 24/7 almost 5 days a year. It's just, I mean, it's ongoing. You got to stay on top of it because I'll get phone calls, text, emails every day, sometimes 20, 30 a day. And since I do other shows, it's a major task just to keep it, straight between the shows. And there are times I do overlook or miss somebody that will call or text me. I'll be honest. I mean, I goof up because when you get that many contacting, it's easy to miss some people.
Mm.
You got to man up when you do mess up.
Yeah, it happens.
It does.
You mentioned the fairgrounds has a capacity of about 1,500 tables, and
Right.
admittedly, you like to exceed that. What is the vision beyond that? If you could fast forward a little bit, what would you, is there something with this show that hasn't happened that you'd like to, or something that you have as a vision that where you can take this show?
Well, I've thought about, maybe bringing on more autograph guests, but probably 90% of the dealers do not warrant much more than what I do bring because it's really a true card show. And then, there are a lot of great autograph shows too, but I just want to keep it family oriented where people have fun, where you don't feel afraid to bring your 5 or 6 year old son or daughter with you. And then, like I said, it's just, as far as the corporate guys, I've had, different ones come through the years, but really, I think, you got a couple of Beckett or SGC or PSA and then JSA, that could do grading and authentications. That helps draw people into your shows too, because there's a lot of people who have, especially in Nashville, there's a lot of people that have, country music autographs on guitars. I mean, you never know what they bring in, so that's a good
Right.
too. But
So the other thing that the shows have that I've noticed at your show is the security. And I know that you have police presence walking around the show overnight. Tell people a little bit about that because that is something that people think about. Like, man, should I leave my stuff overnight?
oh,
Should I feel comfortable doing that?
yeah, armed guards that stay all night, and then we have them during the show too. But I guess as far as all shows, is people outside of the card business are starting to see the amount of money at these shows. So security is getting more and more serious now too, because I mean, you can imagine when you've got, you know, almost 1,000 tables and 350, 60 dealers and the crowd. And there's a lot of money, not just my show, but, the Nationals, they went out in Burbank. I mean, basically any shows 100, 200 tables, there's a lot of money at these shows. And then that's why, I'm beefing up my security more every show for that reason. It's just, I mean, there again is, I would always recommend when you leave a show, never go out by yourself, especially if you're carrying. You need to be at least 2 or 3 people together because if you're by yourself, bad things are going to happen. I mean,
Absolutely.
That's tremendous advice. Jeff, do you still collect? Are you able
okay.
to get out and go to shows, or is it all a blur?
Well, I enjoy going to other shows that are not mine because I like to be a customer instead of the promoter. But to answer your question, I've been collecting baseball, football cards since 1965. And then over the years, I'll quit for a year or 2 or maybe 5 or 10 and then get back in it. And I collect memorabilia as well, jersey, bats, balls, I mean, all kinds of stuff.
I think that's a 500 home run picture over your shoulder, right?
And there's some autographed balls up on the wall too.
Yeah. What's your favorite thing in your collection?
I don't really know. I've got so much.
Maybe one day you'll set up at a show
Well, that's the thing is, I have not set up the show since I first started the show 11 years ago. I mean, 2011 at the school. It's been over 14 years since I've set up at a show. and you can imagine what I've accumulated my dealers. But it's a hobby to me. I mean, of course, unfortunately, the hobby's turning into about a full-time job now.
Yeah.
No question.
Well, Jeff, we really appreciate your time. What you do is aspirational. We have a tremendous amount of respect for the effort and the amount of enthusiasm and energy that go into producing these shows, and you're at the top of your game for that. Let everybody know where the upcoming national, where it can be found, dates, and any additional information.
Okay, the address to the fairgrounds, it's about a mile from downtown Nashville, Broadway. So people, I mean, like y'all were talking about earlier, Nashville has a lot of things to do. You know, I mean, if you're into country music, or they got, the hockey teams downtown, and I mean, there's all kinds of things to do. But the address is 401 Windgrove Street, Nashville, and it's 1 mile from downtown Nashville, and it's easy to get from Interstate 40, 65, and 24. I mean, it's very easy to get to. And then we got this show coming up. And then next year, I finally got it to where the shows will be 4 months apart. Next year will be in February, June, and October. So it's that way it gives people time to reload up on stuff to sell. But it's taking time to spread out 4 months apart. And I try to stay away from the other big shows, but since there's so many now, I mean, you can't avoid it anymore.
You can't.
Can't do it.
You can't. And listen, we love it. We'll be there next week. We always look forward to this show and get there as many times as we can throughout the year. So,
Oh, I appreciate you. I mean, we've known it well, at least 4 years since I've been doing this big show.
yeah,
Like I said, I hope to see y'all. Well, about a week from today. Or
yeah, yeah. We'll be there next Thursday. We look forward to it. It's always a great time at that show. I enjoy walking around and talking to people just as much as setting up there. So,
well, I do. And when it gets this big, it's hard. I mean, one thing I try to do is I like to get to know all the dealers, just like being a family member.
yeah,
But this many, 300 plus dealers, you just don't have time to go talk to each one of them every time. So, but I do try to get around to talk to everyone,
you do.
to know them. But it's just you don't have much time to talk to that many people, and you don't want to bother them when they're busy too.
But I see you get your steps in. I do notice that,
I
Jeff.
do.
You do. So very good. We appreciate it, and we'll see you next week in Nashville.
All right, buddy. See you guys later.
Cool. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff. Our thanks to Jeff Roberts from the Nashville Card Show, otherwise known as the National.